Welcome, time travelers, as we journey back to the late 19th century, an era of imperial ambitions, power struggles, and a curious chapter in the history of warfare. Picture a world filled with the hustle and bustle of colonial expansion, a time when empires were drawn and redrawn, alliances made and broken. In this whirlwind of global politics, we find ourselves in the heart of Africa, specifically on the island of Zanzibar, an exotic gem coveted by many for its strategic position and wealth. It was here that one of the most unusual wars in history took place, a war that was over almost as soon as it began. This is the story of the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896, a conflict that, despite its brevity, left a lasting impact on the world. Today, our narrative centers around the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896, a conflict so succinct it defies traditional notions of battle, a mere 38 minutes that shaped the destiny of Zanzibar. Picture a world engulfed in the scramble for Africa, a race for dominance among European powers. The late 19th century was a time of imperial ambitions where the map of Africa was nothing more than a chessboard, with powerful nations vying for control over its resources and strategic locations. Among these coveted territories was the Sultanate of Zanzibar, an island off the eastern coast of Africa, known for its lucrative trade routes and exotic spices. The Sultanate was a vibrant tapestry of cultures and influences, with Arab, Persian, Indian, and African threads woven into its rich history. But as the 19th century drew to a close, the tapestry was fraying at the edges, under the strain of external forces and internal power struggles. Enter Sultan Khalid bin Bargash, a man whose ambitions would inadvertently thrust Zanzibar into the global spotlight. He was a charismatic figure with a strong claim to the Sultanate, but his ascension to power was not without controversy. On the other side of the chessboard was British Consul General Basil Cave, a seasoned diplomat who had the ear of the British Empire. Cave was no stranger to the political intricacies of Zanzibar, having served there for several years. His understanding of the local power dynamics, coupled with the backing of the British Empire, made him a formidable adversary. As these two figures locked horns, the Sultanate of Zanzibar became an arena for a showdown between local aspirations and imperial interests. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the mettle of both parties, a conflict that would unfold in a matter of minutes, but reverberate through the annals of history. Key figures, like Sultan Khalid bin Bargash and British Consul General Basil Cave, played pivotal roles in the political chessboard, setting the stage for a conflict that would unfold in a matter of minutes. Our story begins with a succession dispute following the death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini. The throne of Zanzibar, a seat of immense power and influence, was left vacant, and a fierce competition for its occupancy ensued. Sultan Khalid bin Bargash, a popular figure among the Zanzibari people, quickly seized the opportunity and declared himself the rightful heir. However, his swift ascension didn't sit well with everyone, particularly the British consul Basil Cave. Cave, acting on behalf of the British Empire, had his eyes set on a different candidate, Hamad bin Mohammed, who was more favorable to British interests. The British sought to maintain a foothold in Zanzibar, a strategic gateway to the vast African interior teeming with untapped resources. The British Empire, therefore, deemed Khalid's self-appointment a direct challenge to their authority. This political tussle, seemingly a local affair, was in reality a small piece in a much larger puzzle. It was a period marked by imperial ambitions, with European powers extending their reach across the globe, and Africa was the primary theater of this scramble. The British, French, Germans, and Belgians were all vying for control over the African continent, and Zanzibar was a crucial piece in this strategic jigsaw. Consequently, the succession dispute was not just about who would rule Zanzibar, but it was also about which European power would wield influence over this strategically important region. It wasn't merely a local power struggle, it was a manifestation of broader imperial rivalries. As the stage was set, British forces commanded by Admiral Harry Rawson faced off against the defenders of Zanzibar. This wasn't a battle of equal footing. The British Royal Navy, armed with the HMS Philomel, HMS Thrush, and HMS Raccoon, brought to the table the cutting-edge technology and battle-hardened experience of a global empire. On the other side, Sultan Khalid and his men, though outnumbered and outgunned, held their ground with a resolve that spoke volumes of their courage. The Sultan's palace, their primary defense, was surrounded by a motley assortment of armed civilians and palace guards, a stark contrast to the disciplined ranks of the British forces. The British strategy was one of swift and decisive action. They employed a blockade, cutting off any possible escape routes or reinforcements for the Sultan's forces. This was followed by a concentrated naval bombardment, a show of force that sent a clear message of imperial might. The defenders of Zanzibar, however, were not without their tactics. Despite their lack of resources, they employed guerrilla warfare, using the city's narrow streets and the palace's intricate architecture to their advantage. Yet faced with the overwhelming firepower of the British Navy, their resistance was short-lived. Naval bombardment, combined with ground forces, showcased a stark contrast between imperial might and unprepared resistance. This was a lesson in the harsh realities of power politics, a testament to the brutal efficiency of military strategy, and a glimpse into the courage of those who dare to stand against the odds. Now, focus on the climactic 38 minutes, a pivotal moment in which the fate of Zanzibar was sealed. The British Royal Navy, poised in the harbor, launched its assault in the early morning hours of August 27, 1896. As the first rays of dawn pierced the sky, the thunderous boom of naval cannons echoed across the island. Indeed, the intensity of the bombardment was astonishing. The Sultan's palace, a grand structure of stucco and coral, was reduced to a smoldering ruin within minutes. Eyewitness accounts describe a scene of chaos and confusion as the defenders scrambled to respond to the overwhelming firepower. One quote in particular captures the sheer intensity of the conflict. "It was as if the world had come to an end," said one Zanzibari witness. Naval cannons roared and the clock ticked, marking a swift and relentless assault by the British. As the smoke cleared, Zanzibar found itself under British control. The echoes of naval cannons gave way to a profound silence that marked the end of the shortest war in history. Sultan Khalid bin Bargash, the man who had defied the might of the British Empire, was forced to flee, and his throne was left vacant, ready to be filled by a British-appointed sultan. The aftermath of the conflict was a turning point in the history of Zanzibar. The island, formerly a vibrant sultanate with its own unique culture and traditions, transitioned into a British protectorate. The political landscape was reshaped overnight, with the British now pulling the strings of power. The human cost of this conflict was starkly unequal. On the British side, only one sailor was wounded, a testament to their naval supremacy and strategic execution. On the other hand, the Zanzibari defenders suffered heavily, with hundreds of casualties reported. This disparity in losses underscored the vast difference in military capability and readiness between the two sides. Yet the impact of this 38-minute war extended far beyond the immediate casualties and political changes. It left an indelible mark on the collective memory of Zanzibar, a reminder of the island's past and a symbol of its resilience. This brief conflict, however, had profound consequences, reshaping the political landscape of the Sultanate and leaving an enduring mark on its trajectory. As we conclude this time-traveling odyssey, consider the legacy of the Anglo-Zanzibar War. This conflict was a unique intersection of historical currents, a pivotal moment where imperial ambition, political intrigue, and naval warfare converged into a swift 38-minute episode. It was a chapter of history where the ticking clock echoed louder than cannon roars, where the sands of time shifted faster than the tides of war. This war was not just short, it was unique. It was the shortest recorded war in human history, a distinction that it still holds. But it was also the last time a sailing warship engaged another in battle, a poignant end to an age-old mode of warfare. It was a war of firsts and lasts, of beginnings and endings, a war that, despite its brevity, left a lasting impact. Join me in unraveling more intriguing facts about this unique chapter, where key figures and swift maneuvers etched an indelible mark on the sands of time.